Okay, so welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. We really appreciate the opportunity for everyone to tune in and listen and also, have a chance to ask us some questions as well for any questions you might have or concerns that you have. I'm sure you guys have already had a lot of guidance through school and everything like that in terms of well-being at home and the virtual environment and teaching and everything like that because we're 9 weeks into that already. So this is may or may not be new for the parents. So um, please just get into it as much as you can. You can see there should be a chat box down at the bottom. If you open that up, you'll have the Zoom group chat open, so you can type any questions that you might have into that chat group. And coaches, we'll have a look. I'll keep watching it, and we might answer the questions as we go along if they're specific to what we're talking about, or we might just hold them to the end, and then at the end we'll have sort of 5 or 10 minutes, however long we need to sort of answer all those questions. So feel free to drop anything in there throughout that you feel like. Parents, if you can just keep you're all on mute already, but if you can keep your microphones muted throughout, that's great. That would be really helpful, and drop anything into the chat. Okay, so I'm going to hand this over to Mike now. He's going to lead us through the sort of 4 major topics, and as he goes through, he's going to open it up to the other coaches. We've got other coaches in here as well. So Michael, head coach, is in here, and then we have the other South China performance coaches, myself, Coach Troy, Kevin, Coach Carly. We have Coach Edward from the AMC, and we've got Alex, who's normally based at West Island School. We've got Arnon, who's also based generally at West Island School. They've been at South China whilst West Island's closed a little bit longer than South China. And we also have Coach Kelvin is in here as well. Kelvin's bronze squad for SEAA, and Julian as well, I believe, who is based in DB. So on that group chat, you can either ask questions privately directed to specific coaches, or you can put it public. So in the to box, you can see that, and you can either put them private to coaches if you want. The only one there is Mike is currently sharing his screen, so he won't be able to see the chat. So I'm going to guide him through that. If there's any questions that sort of relate to what he's talking about, or something that he might be better at answering through his experience, everything like that. Okay, so Mike, I'm going to hand it over to you. So if you can take over, that would be great.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Henry, for the introductions. And yes, happy Easter to everyone, to all the parents that are out there listening to what we have to say and advice, and to the sharing. Yeah, uncertain times at the moment. Who would have thought 4, 5, 6 weeks ago that things would deteriorate to this point for such a long time? I think the most important thing is that we understand that in the swimming community, we are all in this together, all around the world. I said this to the performance squad swimmers the other day. It's not only in Hong Kong that athletes don't have access to facilities. It's everywhere in the world and across all levels in the sport. What we want to go through with you today is the topics of staying connected, providing structure during this crisis, the psychological well-being of your swimmers, questions and answers at the end, as well as I think we'll give you some resources as well where you can get advice online. A big topic is staying connected. Now with this, we are looking into you staying connected with the coaches. We do hope that you know that we are accessible via email or even WhatsApp for those that have a WhatsApp connection with their coaches. So we really looking after continuing to communicate with you, as well as, of course, for you and the swimmers to stay in contact with teammates. A very important thing to us is maintaining your South China membership, so that when this crisis is over, you can all carry on racing in ASA competitions. The ASA calendar has been communicated to the clubs on the ASA website. And there is a full calendar for the whole competitive year stretching into March 2021. So it's important for those parents out there that haven't registered that you also register with SCAA, and that you maintain your Mantis Club membership, of course, as well, for those that are members of Mantis. For those that aren't members of Mantis, please consider joining as soon as all those facility closes will come to an end. There will be opportunities for children to race, as well as social opportunities with the Mantis Swimming Club. I just want to hand over to Coach Kevin Chow now. Coach Kevin, can you hear me? To say a bit about those staying connected topics from his perspective with the 12 and under squads. Coach Kevin Chow, can you say something about it, please?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you very
well.
well.
So every week we send out a dry land program. So I do it it's like a 2-month cycle. So so I hope everyone can follow it, and you can feel free to contact me individually, because I have some swimmer contact me individually if they have some special need, or maybe if they find a pool to swim, or some of them want to go and do open water swim. You're welcome to talk to me anytime, and I can give you some sets and some workout for you to do it. Yeah.
Yes, Coach Edward Borgia, do you want to jump in there and say something from your perspective?
Yeah, staying connected is actually the key. Actually, during this crisis, a lot of problems have occurred around us, and that restricts us from moving normally or getting out of our own homes. And what happens is there's this kind of stigma that we're experiencing by being holed up inside a house and not being able to do things normally. So what we've devised with our company is come up with some virtual programs that swimmers can join in. I actually participated. I don't know if it's online yet. I don't know if Henry posted it already.
It's not posted yet. Coming next week. Yeah, this week is being posted.
Yeah, look forward to some videos that me and Henry have put together, and we actually did something like a virtual clinic about turns. So I wanted to engage myself and be active mentally, at least, and then do this for you. And at the same time, it will be beneficial to the swimmers to get additional knowledge while being out of the water, something that can help them once they get back in the water. And I think this is the time that we can use our mental capacities in learning new things instead of just swimming and doing physical activities. We're also now analyzing, using our mental abilities to absorb new knowledge, and hopefully look forward to using these knowledge once we get back in the water. And I guess I have to mention the virtual camp that we're running within the week, which starts tomorrow. If some kids have not registered for it yet, maybe it's a very good idea to register and join us. It's very educational. We've set up really good materials for all the swimmers. Some of them new and updated approaches into the different strokes that we're using competitively. This might help the swimmers also become active mentally. It's going to help you out, and we could run more in the future while we're still contained in our homes.
Yes, thank you, Coach Edward. Coach Carly, do you have to say something about staying connected, or would you like to say something about it from your perspective, how important this is for swimmers and parents with each other as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think during this time, particularly like we will also discuss during this week, is focusing on our nutrition and being healthy throughout this time, and encouraging your kids to stay active, even though they are inside the house. We are doing dryland sessions every single day, and 3 times a week we have joined in with the kids, and for us as coaches to do it with the kids, it also encourages them to be active and see that we are all in this together. So I think from a parent's perspective, you should try to just encourage your kids to stay healthy food-wise, and then keep on being active. So try to keep encouraging them to sign in for the dryland sessions, the camp that we are going to have now. It will definitely benefit them by the end of all of this. And we are crossing our fingers and hoping that it will end soon. And it will be terrible if your kids have to start from the beginning again, because they have been lax with the training and with their diets during this time. So yes.
Yes, I just want to call on to the silver and bronze coaches that are in this Zoom meeting now. Coach Kelvin and or Coach Julian, do you want to say something? How important it is for these bronze and silver squads as well to stay connected with the program, and what parents can do to facilitate that. Well, looks
they
like
might have lost connection. They might have
looks
lost
like
connection.
we have lost connection with them. So, as Coach Carly just pointed out, we have set up a program of circuit training, and we offer up to 3 times a week, and I think for silver and bronze squad twice per week, virtual workouts as well as our program coming next week, the virtual swim camp. It also targets the silver and bronze squad. So there is a program across all our squads, and it'll be highly educational, and it will also contribute to a sort of maintain fitness. Now, after penciling in the connection and maintaining the connection to the club, to the coaches and teammates. Yeah, sorry, Coach Henry.
Yeah, I just want to add in here. I mean, in terms of staying connected, if any of you can remember the parent athlete seminar with Dr. Justin Grantham, he had a really nice image there of 3 circles: parents, coaches, and swimmers, all coming together in the middle. So in terms of staying connected, it's really important that, you know, that connection goes all ways. So obviously swimmers to parents, you guys see each other every day, so that's quite easy for you. But parents to coaches is very important as well. So, you know, Kevin's offered swim sets and that sort of thing. If anyone has access to a pool or is willing to go in the ocean, then he can help with that. I think that goes for all the coaches. If you have anything you want to ask us, please get in contact via email or via WhatsApp if you have access to your coach's WhatsApp. And the same with the swimmers. Encourage the swimmers to contact us. And it can be over anything. It can be anything they're feeling psychologically or physically that we can help them with. And that will maintain their sort of relationship with the club, and it will make them want to come back more to swimming afterwards. I mean, I think most of the kids actually come to swimming a lot of the time to see their friends. A lot of people say swimming isn't that much of a social sport, but I really disagree. We can see like how much of a tight-knit team we have and how many strong emotional social bonds that our swim team have together. So encouraging them to talk to each other as teammates is is really important as well, coming both from the coach and the parents. So please sort of actively encourage that as much as you can. Yeah, I think that's it, Mike. Thanks.
Right, good. So I want to now move on and talk a bit about how important it is that you as parent provide the children with structure. You might have had an Easter break now in the past 4 days, especially as well as the children have had a Easter holiday. So there was probably a little less online learning taking place in the last week. I have learned from some of the swimmers that their break will finish today. Some of the schools already restart next week, and our HKS will be back next week, a number of the local schools as well. So as you come out of your break time, I think you want to have a real routine every day and provide your children with a routine. It should be consistent as well as flexible, because in this uncertain environment at the moment, there are so many things happening on a daily basis. I think the more they have a structure, the better it and the easier it will be for them to stay on top of school, to sort of maintain their physical fitness. And we do think that in this structure that you provide, there should be time that is unscheduled as well as time where they exercise. Encourage the children to really exercise on a regular basis. I think it'll help them tremendously to be awake and to be attentive when they are supposed to learn, when they have their online learning with school. I also suggest you do not plan too far ahead. Plan a week ahead, that I think is sufficient. Often we don't know really what's going to happen next week. We don't know for those that are going to participate in in the final examinations at the end of the year, in the local examination, DSE, when it's going to really go ahead. We know the education department has announced that there will be DSE, but there is constant rumors about when it's going to go ahead, or if it's going to go ahead, in which form it's going to go ahead. So have a structured 1 week plan in place. That's what we recommend. I think that's what really gonna help the whole family to have some stability and certainty of how to get through this time. Coach Henry, do you want to say something about structure?
Yeah, I mean, as swimmers who are training, you know, depending on their squads, depending on between 3 and some of them 8 times a week, it's normally they have, you know, a very structured week of what they do as kids. They go to school, and then generally they come after school straight to training. A lot of them performance guys, straight to training and then home to work and sleep after that. So having some form of structure will bring a consistency that will allow them to slot back into training a lot easier than they would if they were just, you know, if it was a free-for-all and they literally just did whatever they wanted. That consistency will help in the long term for this. Like Mike said, I think it's good, just plan 1 week at a time. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when the pools are going to open, which I'll address sort of towards the end of the meeting as well. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say for there.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Actually, sorry. I got 2 things. Sorry, 2 more things I do want to say. In terms of providing that structure, we can see exercise every day. So keeping something physical is really, really important, especially as most of the kids will be in the house a lot of the time, and especially when they're doing their online learning, their schooling. So when we're putting those live dryland sessions on, it's really, really important to encourage them to join those as much as you can, so that they can let out that pent up energy, that pent up physical energy that they'll have. And as swimmers, they're probably going to have quite a lot of that. In terms of one thing that I think is, you don't have to be careful with it, but it's wise to have it in your brain, think about, is just nutrition, like Coach Carly mentioned earlier. We're not going to go in depth into nutrition here in this talk, but if you're joining the camp next week, the performance guys, they have a unit that's on nutrition that Carly's going to lead. So that'll be really great for those swimmers to learn a little bit more about nutrition and what they need to do at the moment in terms of nutrition. All I would say as a very general guide is limit calories. So bring your calorie count down, because they're not going to be doing as much physical exercise. And all we really want, like our aim for the physical exercise, isn't for everybody to come back like 10 times stronger than they were, or, to be beefed up or anything like that. It's more about just maintaining some physical prowess that they will have, so that when they come back into swimming in the pool, it's an easier transition. So it's not, a big jump from 0 to 100 straight away. If they can sort of just maintain as much as they can. We're not looking for big improvements at this time. It's just maintenance, so that when they come back, it's a little bit easier for them to transition back into the pool.
Yeah. Also, I want to say, like, last week I have 3 swimmers who came down to Repulse Bay to do a swim. So I went down to watch them. I think because we used to swim so much, and now we do lots of dryland, but I think even you doing once a week swimming just to keep the feeling of water is also great for you. And I think it's worth for some swimmer to go to Repulse Bay or go to the beach to do a swim. No need to be a hard set, but like a long aerobic swim. It can also help you to pick up your swimming a lot quicker once the pool reopen. And I don't think it would take you lots of time, because maybe once a week or twice a week. That's my suggestion as well.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. My only sort of addition to what Kevin's saying there is just make sure it's in those small groups, so that it's in line with what the government have said. If you're doing anything at the beach, just be very careful, okay? Because there's no lifeguards on duty at the moment. So my advice for any open water swimming that you do is stay very close to the beach. Go up and down the beach, literally like that, sort of 10 or 15 meters away, so that if there is any sort of emergency or anything like that, you can very quickly get out. And in groups would be better. Just 2 or 3 is fine, just so that there's an extra person there to help if one person gets in trouble. And obviously an adult there to supervise and just walk up and down the beach is very important thing to have as well there.
Yeah. Do we have Coach Choi still in the meeting? Is Coach Choi still there?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, Coach Choi, would you do you want to say something as well about how important structure is from your perspective, especially also for the younger swimmers?
I think they keep the dry land and keep the physically is better. And when we start the training, then the recover will be very fast. So now the very important is keep the physically, I think.
Yes, yeah. We all feel that, it's important to try and maintain their fitness level, but at the same time, it's also important that they have free time, because this is a really stressful period for all the children, I think, at the moment. Not only for us adults, but I think also for your swimmers. And I do think that they need time, some free time that is not all planned out and structured. I think it's a great time to grow for them as people as well. Personal growth. There is a lot of opportunity for this at the moment. You can sort of include them in the day to look after specific course. I think it's very important that you make them look after their rooms. You make them help you cook or assist with all sorts of things around the house. I think these are most important life skills, which they often don't have a chance to pick up during school time, because, for example, if they're performance squad swimmers, they'll be so busy. They'll have such a structured, strong schedule the whole week that there is no opportunity often for them to do simple things. Or, well, I say simple, it's not right, to do really important things like this as well, to have a holistic, great, all-round development. So from here, I quite like to take it to their psychological well-being, and to address all these things that might go on in your child's psyche, all the fears and anxiety that they suffer at the moment, due to the uncertain situations. I think it's a very tough time for all age groups. For you as adults, I think we do wanna acknowledge that it is a difficult time for us as well, a time that we have never experienced before in our life, and to validate the feelings that they have. I think it's also very important that at the same time we are reducing their worries, which a lot of the swimmers will have, that they have been out of the water for lengthy periods of time in the past 3 months, and that they probably have only been really swimming for maybe a month in the past 3 months. I think it's important for them that they have you tell them that, you know, that they are good swimmers, they're accomplished swimmers, and when they come back, or when access to facilities is possible again, they will remember how to swim, and that is not a big problem. I think if we encourage them to be active and stay healthy, that's the most important thing that we can do at the moment. We coaches, we don't want to pressure them to increase their fitness level. I think that's not possible at the moment with the limited access to facilities. But we want them to stay active. We want them to stay fit and lose not too much fitness that they have had before this COVID-19 crisis started. I do think we have Harry Wright International in South China looks after a very wide spectrum of age groups. So we have 2 swimmers that come 2 or 3 times per week to see us, and to the younger swimmers usually. And then we'll deal with swimmers that were about to represent Hong Kong in March, and this didn't take place. We have those among us as well. So we have children that had very high caliber competitions coming up, that were racing Hong Kong Short Course Age Group Championships, or that were supposed to race this. And this event never took place, as well as the Festival of Sport never took place. And I think some of those children, they might feel quite some loss about these opportunities that were sort of taken away from them in this COVID-19 crisis. So I think it's important that we explain to them that those missed opportunities are just a opportunity of many more to come once we are back in operating in foreseeable time, a couple of months down the road. As I said and pointed out, the Hong Kong Amateur Swimming Association has drafted a calendar. All the competitions that are on offer from June forward are all posted on their website. And I think we will strive to soon offer you a calendar that is updated. We don't want to run too far ahead. However, as times are still quite unpredictable of what's going to happen very soon. Carly, do you want to say something about the psychological well-being, particularly as it affects the children in these difficult times?
Yes, absolutely. And I think for all of us, especially the parents and the coaches, we can feel that as well. With the psyche of the kids, they might get a bit more frustrated at home because they are feeling trapped. So that is why I completely agree with Coach Michael, is that we need to keep encouraging them so that they also know as soon as everything is done and we can get back to the pool, that they don't lose that mindset or they don't fall into that trap of, oh no, I have to start again. So just to keep encouraging them. And I think it's so important for us to, like we've mentioned before, to have a program, and that you as parents also see the exercise and the routines that they have to do every day is exactly the same as what they would have done with school as well. So if you have a list of chores or things that they need to do during a day, or that they have a certain program for the day, classes that they have to attend over Zoom or over Skype, however they do it, you have to also include a training hour. That they have a power hour of just training and keeping their mindset in that same progressiveness of having a fit and physical physique. So I completely agree with Coach Michael, having parents that are supportive of the coaches and supportive of
I think
their
we
own
have
children.
lost Carly there at the end a bit. I quite like to move on to Coach Edward Borcher. Coach Edward, are you still out there? Are you still with us?
I'm here.
Yes, I know you often have, like all of us, but I think especially you, often are very concerned about the psychological well-being of our swimmers. I quite like you to share your perspective to this as well.
Yes, I think most of the factors of keeping children busy at home has already been discussed by you and Carly and everybody else. I feel like all these factors, when you put them together, parents would act a very major role in terms of managing these activities. You got to strike a certain balance to get everything in order, because if it's not supervised, if activities are not supervised just by the parents, things can go out of hand. And anxiety does occur when children don't know what they're doing. They don't have any objective. They don't have any goal. And it's very important that everything will be structured. All I can say is that if you are going to give them activities which will deal with their intellects, I think this is the perfect time to look at something new, or like what us coaches are doing. What we're trying to do just to keep busy is to try to educate ourselves better, to become better coaches in terms of knowledge, in terms of know-how. So we go into clinics, we join online clinics, wherein we can absorb more information from other coaches from other countries. I think it's the same with parents. And now as Harry Wright, we're instilling this knowledge through this portal, this Zoom portal, and we're gathering all this information, and we're willing to share it with the swimmers and the parents as well. And it's a perfect opportunity not to just think about those that they've been doing over and over, and they're used to it. We got to give them, or children and the parents would, I think it's the perfect time to get new knowledge in, and something that would help them that they often neglected when we have, when we're living normally and we go to the swimming pool on an everyday basis. We take those things for granted. We feel like we can improve in just doing the normal routine that we do every day, but now it's not normal. So I think it's the best time for us to get re-educated or add more education to the swimmers. But again, it's got to be structured, it's got to be supervised. So what better way to do it than having us coaches participate in giving some of those knowledge to those swimmers?
Yes, thank you, Edward. Does Coach Chui want to say something about this topic as well, please? Coach Chui, would you like to share something about the psychological well-being?
I think they need to think positive, stay positive is better.
Yeah.
I think not negative. They focus. We need to focus the upcoming the event. So positive is very important, I think.
Yes, I think, and we as adults, we should be the ones setting a really good example about being positive and making the best out of the situation. There's one thing that I just remembered in terms of encouraging a fit and healthy body. I think for those parents that have a swimmer in performance squad that are used to train at a very high level daily, sometimes twice per day, I think it's also important that you try and watch what type of trial that they do, because often they tend to get into very high levels of anxiety by having no access to water, no access to a pool. And often they tend to overdo the land exercises. So if you are parenting a teenager that is 14, 15, 16 years old, and often it's the males, but the females too, please keep an eye on them that the exercises that they are do appropriate for their athletic development. So don't make them or don't allow them to do strength training 3 hours a day at the moment, because it got a huge potential to lead to injury and this is really what we want to avoid. So if you can provide a little bit of monitoring of what they do. I understand often you can't be around when they exercise. Some of the performance swimmers told me, I don't want to attend the Zoom group session because I prefer to do my workout in the morning. It gets me really out of bed and it helps me start my day. So the structure that you provide got to be fitting your individual family situation. And we are all different in how we design our days or what we do every day. So please understand structure got to be individual to your own personal situation, and try and talk with your athletes if you don't see them in the day, if you go out to work and no one's around, maybe, or only the helpers around. Please try and make time to talk to the swimmers about what they have done. Ask whether they have done a LAMP program, and ask specific questions like, how long did you exercise and what type of exercises did you do, to a sort of give them some oversight and monitoring their physical activity as well. Coach Henry, do you want to share something about this topic as well?
I think most of what I want to say is related to the next slide. But just in terms of what Michael just said there, in terms of asking the kids what they've done in terms of their dry land and how it was, I think parents just be careful, and as especially the kids who are going towards their teenage years, if they're not there already, try and just make all of those questions very open, and try and get them, the kids, the swimmers, to sort of give you as much information as they can. So it's not forced, and you know, it doesn't seem like you're sort of prying into them. Just let them sort of open up as much as possible, and just try and engage that using open questions as much as possible.
Right. Yeah. So I think now we quite like to move on to some resources. Oh, sorry, I'm running ahead there. Still with psychological well-being. Henry said he quite liked to. He got a lot of things to say about this part of the webinar. Limiting media intake. It's, of course, if you're out of the house and they're by themselves, a huge opportunity for them to watch hours and hours of YouTube or all sorts of films, and to be very inactive. As we know, being unsupervised online for long times of the day, it's important that you try and monitor this. I think it's also important to manage your swimmers' expectations in terms of what they can achieve physically and what they can achieve intellectually in this difficult period where we can't go out of the house and we have very little mobility, and are discouraged by the government to assemble in big groups. I think Coach Edward said before, take advantage of your downtime in terms of also trying learning something new, doing something that you've never done before. Be creative. Think of something that is suitable for a child of your age group to pick up. Now is a great time to pick up a new activity, or to learn something new, as well as there might be access and additional time. Henry, I'd quite like to pass the mic to you now.
Okay, so yeah, that limited or limiting the media intake. Obviously, that's harder as they get older, as they're teenagers and they have a lot more access to their own accounts and social media and this sort of thing. I think specifically it's important to, as much as possible, limit media exposure to various news outlets. Like you just have to be very careful and control as much as you can that the information that they're getting is from a legitimate source. It's very positive. It's not always negative, and that's something that you find in the media and the news, is that it's very, very negative, and we want to sort of push away from that as much as possible, especially if they are having this high level of anxiety being at home and that sort of thing. That goes on to that next point there, follow the right people. So again, sort of drawing back on the first slide of the communication and connecting with the sport. So encouraging them as much as possible to follow athletes who set a good example on social media specific to swimming. Two that are very good are Adam Peaty is very good for the boys, and Jazz Carlin is very good for the girls. So that's just an example of two, but so that the swimmers are connecting not only with the sport, but positive role models within the sport as well. And then those next 2 points, managing perspectives and managing expectations, like Edward drew quite nicely on that last slide. It's important for us to communicate those to the swimmers and to them as children, for you guys as well, that there is an expectation that they will do some physical activity so that they will maintain some physical fitness, but we're not expecting them to come back into the pool and be swimming personal bests on the first day. That we as coaches understand, and them as swimmers have to understand, and parents also have to understand, that we then have to condition them back into that, and they're not going to be on top form straight away when they get back in. It's important that they know that as swimmers, so that they feel very safe coming back to the pool environment, the training environment, and they're sort of in that right mindset to do the type of work that we want them to when they come back in. And then that last one, just take advantage of downtime, just give them a rest. I mean, I think this week is probably welcome rest after 9 weeks of online learning for them. So just let them enjoy the downtime as much as possible. I mean, I think one thing that is going to be very positive from this, I think experiencing the sort of emotional roller coaster that the kids will be going through now, is that at the end of it, they will have built up some sort of emotional resilience, and you know, they'll be a little bit more gritty afterwards, and I think afterwards they'll be a little bit stronger mentally and ready to do some hard work afterwards, which will be really positive in the long run. Yeah, that's
yes. Is Coach Kevin still there?
I think he's lost
Yes.
connection. Oh no, he's still here.
I'm here.
Yes. Coach Kevin's been talking about before how important it is that if you have access to water, to provide it, provided that you stick with the guidelines given by the government, so small groups. And Coach Henry had pointed out that in all our sports activity, it's a real great advantage. I think Coach Kevin might be able to explain how swimming now, just once a week, how it's gonna help to maintain feel for the water, and how beneficial this can be, and how it also gonna regulate their emotions and their well-being in this difficult time.
Well, so everyone knows I do sports, and I train in the pool as well. But now all the pool is closed, and before I don't really like swimming in the sea, but at this time, you know, like today, very nice weather, I would go out and, you know, do a 2 or 3K. I think now is a time to enjoy it, because before you have lots of competition, you have lots of homework, you try to swim a PB, but now I would use this time to just try to find the fun of this sport again. So just go out and enjoy it. Don't worry too much about what sets you have to do, or what time you have to make, but just to be positive and enjoy the sport. Yeah.
Very, very
That's good
important.
advice.
And thank you, Kevin, for reinforcing this once more, that for us at the moment, it is not about building fitness. It can't be. It is getting back to the roots of sports, and to participate in sport, whatever we do, whether we go for a walk, or whether we run, or whether we do the circuit that is sent out, or whatever we do, however we try and stay fit, how this is beneficial for our mental well-being, and how this is a ventil for frustration and for anxiety and anger, or whatever we might experience in the day, with all this variety of emotions that everyone goes through. Yes, Coach Colley, do you want to say something about this, or have we covered everything?
I think we've covered most of it. I think it's just keeping steady, so that the kids can also see some progression throughout the few weeks that we are now on a downtime. But I completely agree with Kevin, is that we need to find the love for the sport again. And by doing the dryland sessions, so that the kids can have a feeling of their own body, and trying to understand how their body works and what they are capable of, because being in water and being on land is so different. They might find out a few new things about their body that they haven't known before. So I think it's important for them to, even if they can't get into the sea or the ocean, or they can't get into a swimming pool, that they still try new things and try new exercises that we have set out, and try to progress on that during the weeks that's coming up.
Right. I think I will now move on to the resources page that we put together. I think these are all good websites that I can highly recommend that you visit with advice on parenting, with advice on how to deal with COVID-19 in a family with athletes, with young athletes. So if you want, you can take a photo of this and just look it up, just browse it. You will find a lot of really good educational material on these websites. Coach Henry, do you want to take it from here then? Maybe some of you have some of the coaches have additional resources to offer. Then please go ahead, speak up. We'd all be very interested to find out about them. Yes, Edward.
Yeah, go on, Edward.
I got really good materials from, if you know the person, his name is Wayne Goldsmith. If you're connected to LinkedIn, he's got lots of articles in terms of not only parenting, but managing in these dire times, and how children or how swimmers and both parents can manage during these times. They're really good. They're good articles, and something to look forward to. If just typed his name, and you'll see all his articles being placed there. Some of them are in it's called Swimmers Corner on Facebook. That's one. But basically he brings out lots of materials in LinkedIn, so you can check that out.
Yeah, I've just put his name into the group chat. So if you open up the group chat by clicking the icon on the bottom of your page there that says chat, you'll see his name there, Wayne Goldsmith. I agree with Edward. Really good, really positive coach. Very, very experienced and very, very famous in the coaching world. So definitely as much advice you can get from him, really, really good. The only other ones that I would add are Go Swim TV on YouTube are really good. This is all in terms of visual learning and YouTube-based stuff, video-based stuff. So Go Swim TV. The Race Club is also a very good one for YouTube, and anything that comes from USA Swimming is very good. So anything on social media, if you follow all of their social media outlets, that's good. One of the parents also said SwimSwam is a very good a very good website. Very good for I've put it down there in the chat again. Very good for swimming news and that sort of thing. So keeping up to date with the various things that are going on within the swimming world in terms of professional and mostly US based, but they do go worldwide as well. It's a very good resource. Any others from the coaches? Okay, if you think of any others, then just drop them into that group chat. So I think we're pretty much set there. We're going to wrap up. Any parents, if you do have any questions that you want us to answer now, please drop them into the group chat. If you have messaged one of the coaches privately and they haven't addressed it, or they might not have seen it, they might not have the group chat open, either send that to me or just drop it into that public chat, and we'll answer it the best we can. I'll just give you a couple of minutes to do that. Edward mentioned earlier, we've got the virtual camp starting tomorrow. So thank you to everybody who signed up for that. If you haven't already and you're sort of on the fence about doing it, please join it, because there's going to be a really Great content there that the coaches have been working really hard on. Different topics each day. Performance 13 and over. It hasn't been put out yet. I'm going to put it out after this. Tomorrow we actually have Oscar Coggins. Oscar Coggins is doing a session. He's going to lead the kids through a stretch cord session. So he's going to show us what he's been doing at the moment in his quarantine, very specific towards stretch cords and how that helps your how he helps maintain your stroke outside of the pool, whilst building a little bit of muscle, but it's more about maintaining that stroke and very specific to freestyle and fly. But that will be a really, really great session. So anyone from the performance 13 and over, please jump in and get the most out of that. Yeah, and I've also asked, there's a yoga session for that at the end of the week. I've asked a famous past Harry Wright swimmer to whether they can lead that. I'm just waiting for an answer there. So that's another bit of bait to try and get you into the sessions. Okay, I see someone's just mentioned the group chat's empty. They can't see what I've shared in there, so I don't know why that is, but no, now I see. Okay, yes, now I see. I've been talking to the waiting room instead of the actual room. So I'll just copy and paste those resources back in there, and that's fine. In terms of those, I know the virtual camp, for some of you are going back to school. We're going to explore trying to make that available to you after the virtual camp as well, but we haven't quite figured out how to do that because there is such a lot of content, and we're running 3 camps all at the same time: pre-squad, bronze, silver, one for gold, and the performance 12 and unders, and then a third one for the performance 13 and over competitive and club swimmers. So we just have to figure out how we can put that all together. I'm going to be working on that late tonight, I think. So if there's no more, doesn't look like anyone's going to put any. Oh, sorry. One question that did come up earlier is, when are we going to be able to get back into the pool? We can't give you a definite date there. You know, I don't even want to speculate on it really that much, but it's definitely not going to be in April, I don't think. So fingers crossed until May, as long as everyone sort of doesn't do the 10 person hikes that I've seen today. I think we should be okay by May, but if those continue, we might be a little bit longer. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's a couple more questions there about the virtual camp. If you can only join some of it, that's fine. I think those theory sessions, that will be really easy for us to record. So we will literally record those and look at releasing that some way later. Again, there's a suggestion there, sort of a Zoom social gathering for swimmers. That's certainly something that we're looking into now. Again, like we talked about communication earlier and engaging together. We've got a few ideas floating around in the coaches, and we're probably going to look at maybe doing that this coming weekend, or the following week. We might do a quiz of some sort, or some sort of game that we can bring everyone together with and play with, and we will sort of try and get some prizes together for that. So it's you know, there's a little teething incentive, little reward there as well, on top of the emotional reward that they get for, you know, being together and relating to each other as much as possible in the virtual environment. So I think we're going to wrap it up there, unless coaches, does anybody else want to say anything else or add anything there to finish the meeting off with? All good? Okay, Mike, anything, any closing remarks or anything like that?
Yeah, no, just thank you for your time, everyone. Yeah, just try and stay healthy, stay active and stay positive, and see you at the next Zoom meeting.
Okay, great. So I want to say thank you to all the coaches as well. Thanks to all the coaches who have come and given those advice as well. Parents, if you have any sort of follow-up questions or anything like that, please contact the coaches individually or send me an email or reply to one of my very many Team Unify messages that you're all receiving now, 1 or 2 a day. Hello, hi Giselle. Hi Gregory. Thanks for coming, listening. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Michael, bye.
Goodbye, everyone. We're going to finish it there. Thank you.